Welcome, my friends, to the big discussion. What has happened today? This is the 25th of November, and the news is out. And you know what went down? Suno, our best buddy, our best friend, or so we thought. Let's hope they're still our friends. But we're going to dive into a little discussion here, and feel free to chime in. I see some of our friends have already chatted in. A shout out to KP for sharing thoughts and ideas. That's what it's all about. We got to share those thoughts and ideas for our sanity. You know what I'm saying? I can only imagine how the Udio people who had put all their eggs into the Udio basket, only to have that basket slapped from their wrist. And I'm grateful that that's not us, at least most of us, because I started hearing from a lot of the free users that some of them saying, I don't know if I'm able to get in. I'm trying to download my stuff, Phil. I can't download it. Now, I tried going in there on a free account and it seemed like it was okay. So I don't know if they've executed on that right away. But for those who don't know and who are here for the information, let's get in. And Phoenix Benjamin, thank you for coming through, my brother, the helmsman. Chat in. Welcome from Oklahoma. Minx Motion. Good to see you. Chat in to me. Keep the chat going. I want to know what you're feeling. I want to know what you're thinking. A shout out to the people from the Phil C YouTube channel. I know lots of you on the Phil C, you're purists, right? You're not really into this AI stuff. But hey, I decided to invite you just so that you can share ideas in the chat. There are a lot of people who are not convinced AI is the way forward in the least bit in music. And I hear you and I understand. We can all have different views, but we can all respect each other and coexist in the musical world. Okay. So I don't want people feeling that, we're gonna lambast UMG, WMG, Suno. No, we're not against those guys. Let's get it straight. Our perspective is very unique. Okay, let me explain a little bit for those who don't know the history. There are people who love the traditional way of doing things. I love the traditional way. I'm a musician, right? I'm a pianist. I'm a multi-instrumentalist. Even before AI came on the scene, I had 5 albums and 40 singles. All right. Is that any better? I'm so sorry. Here I was on a rabbit trail getting worked up, had no idea. Okay. Can you hear me now? I apologize. I had no idea. So, did you hear my keyboard play when I was playing it? Okay. Well, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. I just saw something pop up on the screen, but I was miles away. I, I was going. Okay. Did you hear the keyboard when I was playing it? No. Okay. So let's backtrack. Oh dear. Let's backtrack. And thank you, KP, for coming on. What once I'm in that zone, I'm just going. I'm just going. So let's backtrack. I'm going to reiterate everything that I said, and I appreciate it. So let the fun actually begin. Let's go back to where we were, the very beginning. And honestly, I can talk about this stuff all day long. So let's back up a little bit. So in the very beginning, right? What I was saying was that today is a landmark, but I'm not sure it's a victory. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if this is a victory for us or not. I guess time will tell, but let's zoom in to what we have on the screen. Thank you very much, Hen Corp Design Studio. I need you to show Hen Corp Design Studio some love. Oh dear, that is hilarious. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. And what I normally do is I get the live stream up so I can hear myself, but I was just itching to get into the details so bad. I was itching so bad. I wanted to get into it and cheer it up. So here's the deal, okay? We have a lot of capable musicians on the call, a lot of capable people, and you all have views and opinions. So, what I was saying in the very beginning is I would love for you to share your views, and I want you to share them in the chat if possible. If you can't share them in the chat, then when we're done, you can share them in the actual video. Okay. How do you feel about this? Oh dear. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Hi, Awakening Soul. Yes. So Phoenix Benjamin says it shows AI creativity is being taken seriously by majors. I agree. That's a very good way of looking at it. Thank you for chatting that in. And I see all the other chats coming in. Okay. And Hindi, good evening. I'm new here. Been using Suno. Okay. So let me break it down. Let me give you the summary. Let me give you Phil's summary. Okay. There are two sides to this. WMG is a power broker, one of the big three. UMG, they're like the godfather of them all, right? And we're kind of hesitant to see what it's going to be like when UMG comes on the scene. And Sony hasn't even started. Sony hasn't even done nothing with Udio, nothing with Suno. So we still have a lot of things to address. But on the flip side, you look at Suno. Suno was already quite established, but it wasn't truly resting on dry land because its training data was allegedly scraped. Okay, so that's the lay of the land. So, what it means for us, if you are a free user of Suno, you might want to check and see if you can download whatever you've done, but it was never commercially usable by you anyway, based on what Suno had always said. If you are a paid user of Suno, my advice to you is to go ahead and start downloading all of your songs. So I have downloaded roughly 200 plus songs in the past 2 weeks. Download your songs because you just never know what's going to happen. Okay. I see this as a win for some, but I also see it as a loss. We were hoping that Suno was going to duke it out in court with these people. But on the flip side, we need to remember the business decisions that Mikey had to make. Mikey had to make some business decisions, and I'm hoping, that the decisions he made in the long run will work out. But I'm still hesitant because I feel like a piece of me, a piece of my paper, is still going to get to the big three. And I didn't want to give them nothing. I just want to keep being totally autonomous. I don't know. How do you folks feel about that? React Info says major labels taking control of AI platform is a big scam. Um, if I'll still be able to download my songs, I'm okay with it. Yeah, but Suno has also announced that even if you're paying them money, they're going to put some restrictions on how many songs you can download, which is why now is the time. 2026, things are going to start changing drastically. So if I were you, I would go in there, I would download everything possible. Everything that you care about, go in there and download it. Helmsman said it depends on how it turns out. Suno doesn't hope Suno doesn't throw us under the bus, like we know who. Then maybe it's a good thing. It's true. We don't know. But let's get into a little bit of the content, because I really want you to grasp what has happened. So 2025, November 25th, it's the day that Warner and Suno sat down and rewrote the rules of music. It's not just another licensing deal. It's the moment that AI met with the legacy. The legacy. I hate to call it that, but it is what it is. It's the legacy music machine. And WMG just went first. There's Suno, there's UMG, right? And this is the moment that the legacy music machine met with AI, and stuff happened. So what did they agree to is the question. Three things. First, they settled the lawsuit. Second, they're building new AI models. And third, Suno bought Songkick. And I was saying Songkick is really just going to be a funnel to get those people who are crazy about their artist but are in Suno. And if you made a song about your favorite artist and they're coming to town, well, guess what? Songkick is a great funnel for merch and ideas to be pushed to you so that, more money is cashed. It's another revenue stream. You become another revenue stream. The numbers, I was getting all excited about the numbers. Little did I know you're not hearing a thing I was saying, but I was saying Suno raised $250 million, which is a big amount, and their valuation 2.45 billion. And the kicker is they got all that while being sued. Their investors didn't see lawsuits. The investors didn't see a death sentence in the lawsuits. They saw opportunity for partnership. So they probably bet that Suno would be big enough and valuable enough to weather the storm, and weather the storm they did. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Next slide here that we're looking at. I said before we celebrate the partnership, let's remember how we got here. There were allegations of Suno stream ripping. The recording industry called it blatant violation on a mind blowing scale, right? And the stakes up to $150,000 per infringed work. I'm telling you, the people who wrote those songs haven't even realized that much from a lot of the songs that were training data, by the way. But anyway, Suno fought back hard. They really held out. They tried their best, and I believe they were trying to iron out a deal. They were obviously trying to understand who they were in dialogue with. And don't get me wrong, because if you go back to a lot of my previous videos, what did I say in my previous videos? I told you Suno needs to think of their BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. And that's exactly what they've done. They've tried to negotiate things. And I was saying that Warner's stock had dropped by 2%. And it's an indicator that Suno probably got more than Warner wanted. And Songkick, even though it looks like it's going to be a revenue stream for Suno, nonetheless, it just shows that there's been a lot of behind the scenes going on. So when we were thinking, oh, hope they fight it out, instead of what Udio did, little did we know they were probably already deep in the last stages of striking these deals. So the new model, let's talk about what changes for us in 2026. I guess we need to really put on our thinking cap. because every current AI model that Suno runs today, it's going to be gone. 4.5 is likely to be gone, right? 5 is likely to be gone, right? Uh, Tom Blaze says, I will create hundreds of artists to replace their stale pop artists. Oh, the Awakening Soul says, right, 150K per work, and I bet you the original artist, yeah, will only see pennies. That's true. Yeah, the Songkick deal, yeah, festivals and concerts. But the idea is for it to keep pouring revenues in. And who knows? We don't know the details. They never disclose the details except those who are in the inside circle. But trust me, UMG knows the deal through and through. Sony knows the deal through and through. They're all in cahoots. Let's be honest. All in cahoots. So the artists get control. They can either opt in or not. If you're a Warner artist, you decide whether Suno can use your name, your image, your voice, your compositions. And if you opt in, you're supposed to get compensated. And this is how Warner sanitizes the whole operation. The old models were legally toxic because you still got the indie people saying you're owing us as well. So the old models were legally toxic, built on allegedly stolen music. I can't stand that term, by the way. But anyway, the new models are supposed to be clean, licensed, and defensible. But the question that no one's answering, what happens to everyone who created music on the old models? I guess we have to wait until another day to talk about that. But I don't think what they're doing is going to be retroactive, which is why, as my brother Beatology was saying on the last one, you better release all the music you can right now. Release all the music you can, because we don't know. The Hellsman said, what models are they going to replace them with, and are they going to be as good? Well, that's a very good question. We don't know, but we can assume that when they train their, the same way they trained on all the other data, they're going to be training on WMG, probably UMG, I'm guessing, right? Probably Sony. Trust me, when these big three make decisions, they're not going as one. They go. It's just understand it's a collective decision. So everyone already knows how it's going to play out. We're just a third party getting to see it. So in my mind, they're not going to go back and say, take all your music down. I think they're just going to move forward from where they are, because Suno knows what a firestorm that will create. Even Udio didn't say, well, your music is no longer yours, take it all down. So I'm guessing they'll just play along and things will evolve as we proceed. But those who didn't pay, don't even stand a chance, right? The people who didn't pay don't even stand a chance. Yeah. Oh, you're developing your own software engineering and machine. Fantastic. Oh, yeah, 2 years away. That's not bad. That's not bad. Like, honestly, me too. I'm working on tools. I've got a new Arranger keyboard coming out very soon for all of our subscribers. I've got more tools because I really want you folks to have fun creating and just enjoying the music. Not everyone is thinking, oh, money, money. Not everyone is seeing a bag and dollar signs. Some of us are just seeing fun, just good old fun. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of my strategy as well. And please keep us updated, as you keep developing your machine learning tools. But before this agreement, if you use Suno's free tier, you could download your songs. You could keep them forever. You just couldn't use them commercially. But after this deal, all you're going to be able to do is play in the walled garden. You're only going to be able to play in Suno. You're not going to be able to take those songs out of that Suno ecosystem and play them on YouTube and other places, right? Even if you're not making money from it, no downloads. And they'll probably build it in such that if you record what's playing, they'll brand it as being illegal. And they'll probably have their bots check in, as they have in the past. Suno can find their music, they can find what you did. And let me also use the opportunity to speak about Deezer. I don't know if you folks have taken a look at Deezer recently. So any album, so I've got a number of albums, right, that I've done using AI. I've got a number that I've done without. When I take a look at the albums that I've done using AI, even if I just use AI for voice or just use AI for some of the instruments, but I still sang and I still played on top of it, Deezer brands it as AI. So not just that, like if you have an album of 5 tracks and two were AI and three were not, so I have an album of about 7 tracks and I used AI for about half of them. The entire album is branded as AI. So I'm not a huge fan of Deezer's method for album AI identification. And this is also a lesson to you folks because I know some of you do both. So just know that if you're using AI, you run the risk of in the future it might just be branded as even though you might have put in blood, sweat, and tears in the studio, big old powwows with the producer and the singers. As long as there's an AI instrument that's decipherable on that, your music, your entire album will say AI present on some tracks. I wasn't really, I really, I don't care, but I know that some people it will mean a lot to them because I know a lot of you're putting in 50-50 or even 70 human, 30 AI. And Deezer don't care. Deezer picks up AI, you're immediately branded as an AI artist. For those who, if it matters to you, just be aware of that. Now, paid users, like I said, will get hit download caps, limited monthly allowances, and if you want more, you got to pay extra. So that's a new revenue model that we didn't see coming. The worst part, to be honest, is all those songs people already made, right? They're trapped. Now, can someone let me know in the chat? Have you tried to go into Suno on your free account to try to download? Can you still download? Has anyone tried it? Hencorp Design Studio says, I'm currently fighting Deezer for that same thing because the label is supposed to be wholly generated. Yeah, Deezer's got issues. Deezer's got issues. Yeah. The AI label also stops you from being put in the algorithm. Interesting perspective there. Yeah. Interesting. Um, yeah, don't release on Deezer. Yeah. Okay. Yes, you can still download. It won't be until December. Thank you, A1 Bad Kitty. Appreciate that. Okay. Free download allows MP3. Okay, that's fair enough. Because I know lots of people just don't want their music to get trapped. Because I know lots of you spend a lot of time. This is the thing that really just hurts me because I know you folks like Phoenix Benjamin. My goodness. I don't want to begin to announce what's coming, but this brother, he does the work. He does the work. Like when you talk about using AI, because he can sing his face off and play guitar. And when you listen to some of the tracks he's done, you, I ain't hear no AI in that stuff. Zero AI. I ain't hearing it. And I'm a musician and I can't hear it because he put in the work. He played the riffs, he did the singing. He's just using AI at what I would call like a level 4. Like if you look at my taxonomy on philc.net, I've covered it, but he's at a level 4. You have people who are at a level 6. He's at level 4 because you can tell that there is so much human influence in this thing. That what do you mean by AI? So it kind of hurts me for those of you who are putting in so much work into your albums to have Deezer just say all AI. I don't think that's fair. It's not fair. But anyway, Suno just converted 100 million creators from owners to renters. I don't know what rents they're going to exert on us. I really hope they don't. I hope they don't hurt us. You know what I'm saying? I just hope they don't. It's hard to know what everyone's thinking. Mikey seems like a decent guy, but again, for those of you who know about business history, I just hope they don't do a Steve Jobs on him. You know what I mean? Like Steve Jobs forced out of his own company, had to go set up a different company before coming back. I really hope that doesn't happen because where there's a lot of money, people get weird and crazy. And he seems like a good guy, but who knows? You know, I hope they don't stiff arm him, because I know that he has the musicians back. I know he's gotten a lot of bad press when he said music creation is hard. Let's be honest. For a lot of us, how many of you real musicians have got almost come to blows in the studio? How many of you have had almost like good business relationships between you and the artist almost go sour because there were differences in agreements and opinions in the studio? Come on now, music creation is hard. It's a hard, and we're not even talking about the business side. We're talking about when rubber meets road and you're in the studio and you're doing all these takes, and you got the singer who wants to listen to takes, and you got the producer who says, no, let's move ahead. That's fine. A lot of stuff happens in the studios. So, Mikey wasn't trying to be bad when he said it's hard to make music and it's difficult. He was just sharing his opinion, which he's entitled to. So, like I said, Songkick is coming. Songkick, they're going to make money from that, but I know that's not the biggest of your concern. So let me go to the bigger fish. Let's talk about stakeholder wars. So, who actually wins here and who gets destroyed? Think about it. Chat into me if you've got an opinion about that. Thank you for keeping the chat going. So, Hoax Law Record says, should I download the WAV format? Absolutely. That's the rule 101 of music. MP3s ain't worth diddly squat. Your waves are, that's the main thing, because that's the highest level of quality, 44.1 kilohertz. Don't play with your MP3s. You want to play with your waves. And when I say play, like your uploads, if you're uploading to a platform, don't do MP3s. Very, very poor quality. The helmsman said, yeah, same with lyrics. You can always tell the difference if someone dumps their heart and soul into the lyrics. Yes, absolutely. Awakening Soul says, so what about uploading your music into Suno and having it train on just that to generate? That is a brilliant question. Yeah, it seems like we're getting the short end of the stick. I'm not going to disagree, but your question is very valid, and I've demonstrated that through Suno's system. You can download a finite piece of your music, but that is not in the interest of the record label. That's not in Warner's interest. What Warner's like, what's in it for us? What are we going to get from that? So even though Suno may have the ability to do that, they're not announcing it just yet. Maybe they will. But you got to understand that all roads will lead to the big dog's pocket, one way or another. Suno's got to pay rent, right? All the data they're using to train their system is they got to pay. So in one way or another, your subscriber money is going to trickle into their pockets, whether you like it or not, as long as you're on that system. And we don't even know the horrors coming, talking about releasing music. We really hope that they don't go that far and say, well, if you want to release the music commercially, you got to pay an extra amount. I really hope they don't go down that road, because there's all sorts of greed that I can see many possibilities of greed emerging just easily. In fact, I could have nightmares all day about the kind of tariffs they can begin to put on us creatives. Let's not even talk about it. Let's end the night on a good note. So, like I said, the big player wins. Warner wins. Warner's catalog is protected. They're getting paid. They've turned a legal threat into a revenue stream. They're just planting their minions everywhere. They're everywhere. They got Clay in the bag, even though nobody knew about Clay until we started talking about them. Now we got Udio. Now we got Stable Diffusion, and now Suno. So they got their tentacles everywhere. Warner is winning, and they're going to win big. And what happened today? The drop of -2. Trust me, you're going to see their stock rise. So the venture capitalists, they win. They bet on Suno, despite the lawsuits, and that bet just paid off with a settlement. Do you know how much that would have taken in a court of law with the ridiculous $150,000 tag on each infringement? That would have been horrible. Now, as for independent artists, they're getting crushed, right? The compensation structure in this deal flows to major label artists, the ones with contracts. That include the opt-in provisions. And honestly, I don't even think Suno, let me not speak for them, but why would they be bothered about haggling and striking similar deals with the indie artists? You think they're going to do that? I don't know. I don't want to burst the bubble, because I know lots of us in the community are part of that, lawsuit. So I'm just saying, I don't know. Even if, thousands of indie musicians get some compensation, it probably won't amount to very much, especially if those folks have already signed into Suno, because some of the people crying foul are creating music in Suno as well. So I don't know. You know, the critics are saying that the independent artists are getting absolutely nothing. Money is going to flow based on market share, which means will enrich collection societies such as those in these big companies. Free users will lose everything, and there's another concern: market substitution. Because now, if AI can generate music that replaces the need to license real human compositions, then every track Suno creates is one less licensing opportunity for working musicians. See, so there's a lot of concerns. Everybody has a concerns. A lot of the folks watching tonight have major concerns. You know, it's easy. I want to be fair and honest. It's very easy when you have multiple streams of income, but when your only stream of income is music and you're relying on tours, or you're relying on just being called to play guitar or keys, or just be the sound guy on a tour, and when that looks like it's being threatened, I can understand why a lot of people don't want AI music. So we have the creatives, right? Some of the creators are artists as well, but they're diehard creatives. Then we have the artists who are on labels. Then we have the indie artists, and then we have the big old record labels, and then the AI companies. So we have fivefold look at this thing, and everyone wants something. But the truth about it is, we can't all get our way, folks. That's what I was saying about 3, 4 weeks ago when Udio announced it. I said, Suno is going to have to get into some dialogue, and they better think of a BATNA. I want to be fair in my dialogue. I don't want you to think that I'm one sided. I'm not one sided. I see everyone's point of view. I see the artist's point of view. I see the record label's point of view. The record labels have to do what's good for their investors, and then we have to do what's good for ourselves, which is create without restriction. So it's very complicated. It's a very complicated ecosystem, but I think with a lot of dialogue and respect, I think we can all coexist. I think we can all be happy. It doesn't have to be a sad place. Think about it. I remember in the 70s listening to ABBA, listening to the likes of Elvis. My mom would play all these Elvis records over and over again, and many, many more artists. My dad was into classical, and it was a happy place. People were not so focused on the crazy attitudes of the labels because there were many labels, but now all the labels have been kind of congregating under the big three. And that's what's causing a lot of the angst. The big three own majority of the world's music. It's it's a little bit concerning, but it is what it is. And we all have to get to some sort of agreement. Even though we're all rather emotional and opinionated about it, but we have to understand that we got to give some, we got to take some, give some. That's really what it is. See. Let's move on and talk about WMG's portfolio. So Warner didn't just do this deal in isolation. This is part of a coordinated strategy. So just look at the timeline. Warner settled with Suno, right? But going back in time, Warner settled with Udio, Suno's main competitor, also accused of stream ripping. Warner partnered with Clay Vision. Just last week, I covered that. A platform that claims to use only licensed music from the start. Warner partnered with Stability AI, rather. And it's a portfolio approach. Mr. Kinsel, he's smart. They're going to like him. His investors are going to like him, you know, because he's following his 3L principle. You got to litigate, you got to legislate, you got to license, he said. And he's showing value to his investors. So it's a portfolio approach, and it's smart. Warner is hedging every possible outcome. It's like a game of chess. And if the courts eventually rule that AI training must be licensed, Warner wins through Clay. If innovation and scale win and the current platforms dominate, well, Warner wins through Suno and Udio. It's a game of chess. So no matter what happens, with regulation, with legislation, with judicial rulings, Warner's catalog is monetized. Our friend KP says, oh, that's not KP, that is Postronics 8345. It's dirty tricks. Users will only be making music and money for the artist. You're right. Yeah, that's the idea. There will be probably no commercial rights for users. I don't want to use Warner, Sony artists, music and vocals. I'll leave. And I honestly don't blame you. I understand. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Let's see what else we got in the chat. I knew from the start this wasn't New Cop Design Studio. Thank you once again. I knew from the start this wasn't about protecting real artists. It was about control. It was always about control. It was always about control. It was always about control. And obviously, you know a thing or two about control because you were able to get my attention. You were able to get my attention. Stop talking, fool. We can't hear you. I really appreciate your super chat because you just saved the day. You saved the day. So my friends, let's move on to our next slide. Our next slide. Hey, Mister, how you doing? Mister says, where does Universal eventually fall in this? Well, Universal. I wish Beatology was here because he can probably speak to that. Because the Universal boss used to be his old boss, so it'd be fun to hear him speak of that. But Universal is a big dog, the biggest dog of all. They're big, they're huge. I know we always say big three, but there's the linchpin, there's the kingpin, there's a kingpin of all the labels, and it's UMG. And I know UMG is just waiting, waiting is like all respect to WMG, but it's like you go first. Let's see what happens. Sony has been radio silence, but I know UMG's. I don't know what UMG's planning. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. But one thing's for sure: UMG is not going to let Suno get away easy. I know that they're going to wrestle a deal, and I just hope that at the end of the day, it will be something that's manageable for us. That's what I'm. Big dogs everywhere. Yep. But the big three, the big three, those are the biggest dogs in the indie world. I mean, some are bigger than others, but those are the real big three. Von Shire, welcome, welcome. Von Shire says, I'm already looking for a different platform. They just can't wait to take away the voices of anyone that's not a corporate. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you very much, Mister. One of our members. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming through and showing some love to your buddy Phil. I agree with you, Von Shire. That's very correct. They just can't wait to take away the voices of anyone that's not a corporate created pop star with nothing too real to say. It's true. You know what? The reason why I wanted to do this tonight, many of us, we get very emotional about these things, and for some of us, it could affect our mental. You know what I'm saying? It could affect our mental, and some people are going to cry tonight over this because a lot of people thought Suno was going to fight it all the way through to the end. But I want to give you some hope. It ain't over. There are many possibilities. You just heard a friend of ours say, well, I'm going to start building my own stuff. Might be ready in about 2 years. Yeah, this stuff takes time to build. So don't give up hope. There's going to be many other possibilities. Okay. Now, the first one that came to mind was Toonie. Let me be honest. I know because Toonie isn't in the United States, a lot of people are hesitant. But that platform, there's something different about it. I know that people say, oh, it's got a Suno, it's just a wrap around Suno. I think they've got more than just Suno going for them. Toonie, TUNEE.ai. Check out Toonie. Toonie has got some stuff going for them. Their system doesn't hallucinate very much. It eerily seems right up there in my mind with version 5, but I don't think it's version 5 because it doesn't hallucinate as much as version 5. But trust me when I tell you Toonie is pretty bad in a good way. In a good way. Um I don't know what Toonie's state is now that Suno has struck this alliance. I don't know how things are going to pan out. But if I was your friend and I wanted to tell you to look into other music making sources, I would definitely mention Toonie. And I want to give a shout out to our buddy MB who brought that to my attention because he, for the longest time would say, Phil, check out Toonie, check out Toonie. And when I checked it out, I couldn't believe it. And I was quite surprised to learn that Toonie is, they claim for Toonie to be a rapper around Suno, but it's bad to the bone. It's bad. You can create music, you can upload. So I've done like my own stuff, singing into a track, putting the track into Toonie picking up the melody, picking up the words, and transforming it. So I don't want you to lose hope. There will always be other options. I don't know if you very recently used 11 Labs. 11 Labs is killer. 11 Labs right now, I couldn't believe the punch in the mix that I played from 11 Labs. The vocals too were not, but they weren't shabby, to be honest. So that's my 2 cents. All right. Let's see what KP said. KP, thank you for jumping into the StreamYard. Does anything I've said about the process of tracing make any difference to underlying facts? I need to look for what you said, KP, because I'm missing some of the chats. They're going so fast, so quick. When that audio has been, let me go back and read, KP. The process of tracing a microscope. Oh, I see what you're saying. So let's put that on the screen. So the process of tracing a microscopic segment of sound back to an original human creator across millions of samples is not just difficult, it's practically impossible using current tools, especially, let's see what else he said, especially when the audio has been transformed through layers of AI processing and post production. Hmm. KP, you'll be amazed at the crazy tools these people have. These people have some crazy, yeah. And thank you for chatting that in, as one of our friends said. Says no, because adding a watermark is not hard and it's been done already. That's true. And I've heard it's impossible to remove. Like you have to tear apart the entire song. It's like a stain that goes into all the layers of a garment. Very, very correct. Thank you. I told you we got some learned people on here. So that is very true. They can single you out anywhere, and they won't tell you how it's been done. Hey, Wave AI Sonics, I was thinking about you this evening, my friend. How do you feel? How do you feel about this? Let me know how you feel. So Suno has struck a deal. They haven't sold us. We're not like Joseph yet. We're not in Pharaoh's palace yet. I hope we don't get to be there. But jokes apart, they've struck a partnership, and we're trying to make sense out of it and to see the pros and the cons, the good, the bad. Hopefully no ugly. But I know the free users of Suno, they already feel like, no, this isn't good for me. If you're a free user, download your stuff tonight. Start downloading it tonight is what I would say. Yeah. So yeah, so all that stuff about fingerprinting, yeah, they do it. And I actually think Suno was able to detect a lot of the AI covers because you could create music with Suno and then you could go off and, but that fingerprint, I want to wager that it doesn't go away. I want to wager that even if you break it into stems, it's still there, So just think about it, that they can find us wherever we are. So let's talk about the precedent. Let's go to this next one. So this deal proves that there's a new playbook for AI startups. Step one, our friend on this call who's thinking of building one, build fast on unlicensed data. Don't ask for permission. Just do it. No, don't do that. Build on licensed data, except you want to be in Suno's bucket, right? Because in Suno, if you want to be in the same camp as Suno, then yeah, build on unlicensed data and see where that takes you, right? But what Suno did, what their playbook is, they built on unlicensed data. They didn't ask for permission. Two, they raised massive VC rounds as they were being sued. They used the money as leverage. Step three, they negotiated from a position of strength. I'm too big to destroy. They forced a settlement. And step four, they weren't just too big. Suno didn't just have 100 million people. Let me make it clear. I don't know how many of you have experimented with Suno, but I've experimented with Suno in all directions. That tool is solid. It's very, very aware, musically aware, very capable. And that's the scary part. I'm really hoping that when we get into 2026, it will still remain as intelligent because I hope they don't try to dumb it down because right now it is so ridiculously smart. In fact, I better go make all my videos while it's still smart because I don't know what's going to happen in 2026. So I'm going to make all my videos while Suno was, I really hope it's not like, oh, when Udio was Udio, remember? Because I've heard from a lot of people when Udio was Udio. Remember those days? I really hope that doesn't happen for Suno. But yeah, I got to make some more videos and more music while Suno is still in its lucid, sharp state. Right? I really hope they don't dumb it down and just make it useless. But anyway, step four was deprecate the problematic models. And that's where we come in because they're going to deprecate the problematic models in 2026. They're going to launch the so called licensed version and victory. But I really hope that for us, it works out the best way possible. Um, I'm wearing my black hat today because I'm being a little bit of a skeptic. I got to be a skeptic. I got to balance the equation because I know lots of you are suspicious as ever, and rightly so. You should be. And I know some other people are. Some of you who are too used to the record labels, you may not see this from the lens of people who are not that used to the record label. So I can understand both sides. But anyway, the summary is Suno allegedly violated copyright law on a massive scale, got sued for billions, raised hundreds of millions, came out on the other side with a $2.45 billion valuation and a partnership with one of the big three. That's not punishment, that's validation. But Uncle Sam is always looking from the FTC headquarters, and no one's talking about it yet. But there's always a thought, could this be illegal? Because Suno accused major labels of coordinated anti competitive behavior. They claim that the big three engaged in a concerted refusal to license. And when you take a look at what is unfolding, do you blame Suno for thinking that? Right? Licensing discussions were progressing until suddenly all three labels collectively shut them down at the same time. If that isn't some form of, I guess collusion wouldn't be the word, but it's being in cahoots with each other. So even though the lawsuit is settled, trust me when I tell you those accusations are not going to just disappear. The FTC could investigate, UK's Competition and Markets Authority could investigate. Because if the allegations are true, it's not just three companies protecting their copyrights. It is potential collusion to control an entire market, a market that they already control. They just don't want to relinquish control. And I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm saying those questions could very quickly arise. And you know what the regulators are going to ask? The regulators are going to ask, are the licensing terms designed to exclude smaller AI competitors who can't afford these deals? I don't know what 11 Labs has. I think they should be doing pretty well because they're really awesome in what they do. But when you look at the little guys, I don't know if they could stand up to these big three. The big three don't even want a piece of them. They're like, you're small fry. We don't want you. So is the opt in framework legally exclusive to major labels? That's going to be a question. Is it systematically excluding independent creators who are not on those labels? Antitrust regulators are going to look into that. And if tens of thousands of independent musicians allegedly had their hard work infringed, why are only major labels artists getting compensation? You get what I'm saying? This is going to raise a lot of questions. So the settlement might have ended the copyright lawsuit, but the antitrust risk, I think it's just beginning. I think this is going to play out in a very, very different way from what the big three even expect. Because all it takes is one of the bigger dogs than the big three to immediately begin looking into this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm missing all the fun in the chat, folks. No known method can unwind AI training at scale. There's no reverse map from generated audio back to exact training input. That's true. Yeah. Even watermarking schemas being discussed, like from Suno, such and such, apply to output, not tracing source training data. The only reliable identification right now is if a large unchanged sample was used. It matches exactly with the copyright. Well, that's interesting. And thank you for bringing that up, KP, because that is stuff that we need to talk about, right? We need to talk about that. We need to look into that. Those are very interesting conversations for us in the creative community. All right. So I know we've got a lot of folks on this call, at least over 60 of us. So why don't you chat in? I don't know from which source you're watching, but really just put a stamp of, of your view, your opinion. I want to know what you're thinking because I'm actually going to go back in. I'm going to read all these comments. I'm going to understand what your perspectives are. Because guess how I learn? I learn from you guys, you girls. I learn from you. When you share stuff like this, I go back, I study, and then I get intimated on what you've shared. Mr. Mrs. says, now I see what Blue Labs Beats meant on their song labels. I need to look into that. Blue Lab Beats. I've never heard of those folks. Never heard of them. All right, so here's the coup de grace, my friends. Here's the final. Here's the verdict. Here's the verdict. The AI revolution was supposed to democratize music creation. You heard me say it. I want to democratize music. Well, Phil, you got a lot of work to do. If you still got that dream, democratization of music, you better get busy. I'm talking to myself. I better get busy because these folks, you ain't gonna shatter my dream. You're just gonna give me a pivot point. I'm just gonna pivot. My dream is to see people just create music and do whatever they like, whatever they want with it, no strings attached. And I know there are many others like me, right? I know that it's only a matter of time for an open source system to develop. Whether it's out of America, I hope it's out of here. If it's not out of here, it could be out of anywhere in Europe, could be out of anywhere in Asia, could be out of anywhere in Africa, could be out of anywhere in the Pacific. But trust me when I tell you, people are not just taking this line down. That's how we have an audacity, no pun intended. I'm talking about the audacity, if you want to call it a workstation or whatever, right? There are people who have a vision to make music free. I'm one of those people. I want people to enjoy their music, not to feel draconian rule, not to feel they owe anyone, and I want it to be good music. Because I don't know if you folks have used Sonalto. Sonalto is not bad, but it's definitely not a Suno, but it's free. You know, there are a lot of AI tools that you folks could. Can someone put a chat to Sonalto in there? Or Toonie, yeah, Toonie, oh, absolutely. Yeah, Toonie. I use Toonie to the cows come home. Yeah. The only thing about Toonie is a rapper that incorporates some of Suno into it. This is from Toonie's own words. This is not hearsay. The engine, part of the engine, not all of it, but part of the engine in their process has something from Suno. I don't know the exact details, but they claim it's a wrap around Suno. They've also got their Templar model as well, and probably some other stuff, but Suno is part of what they do. NMDPA3, thank you for chatting in. Paid Suno user, never make songs public, upload my own songs, and let Suno build arrangements. That's smart. Then go record them with human. Oh, that's fantastic. What would change for me on this settlement? A very good question. So I am guessing you're probably using Suno Studio. So if you are using Suno Studio, nothing changes. And I appreciate that question because Suno came out to tell us that there will be no change to how many downloads you can have. So if you are a Suno Studio user, you can download as much as you want. At least that is what is being said right now. We don't know if that is going to suddenly change tomorrow. I really hope not. But from what Suno has assured us today, if you are a studio user, you'll be able to keep downloading. And since you're doing a lot of the stuff with live bands anyway, it changes nothing. The only thing it would change is if you release music and you have, some of Suno's elements in it, then in due season, I'm guessing if everyone goes down the Deezer path, which I hope not, because Deezer's path isn't good. Deezer's path is you release an entire collection of 12 songs. They're going to single out one and say this is AI, so the entire thing is branded as AI. Hulk Slow Records, good to see you again. Yes, same. I never make my music public. Yes, that is the fail model for sure. I've made 10 albums. Wow. For an AI artist that I created 6 months ago, downloading all the waves. You better download those waves. Download everything possible. Yep, yep, yep. Yes, Minx Motion Studio, you're very correct. Yes. Helmsman says, a matter of fact, it's not about any artist at all. It's true. That's the truth. We just have to kind of make sense out of these things. So, because I want you folks to do what you can, make hay while the sun shines, I want to give a shout out to Toonie, my friends from Toonie. I don't need to mention your names. You know who you are. If you're watching right now, I'm giving you a shout out. I like what you folks are doing. I just don't know how this is going to affect you. Okay. I don't know how it's going to affect you, but I really do hope that it works out for you. I also want to shout out Producer AI, which is another tool that is, it's not under the evil grip. Oh, I shouldn't say evil. That's not right. I'm sorry. It's not under the grip of the big three. I don't think it is. I hope not. Look, you got to excuse me. I just free think and anything comes out when I'm live. Okay. A lot of what I'm saying is in jest. Don't take me too serious. Okay. That's another tool. I'm just sharing tools with you. Some of these, like Sonata, was made by a couple of grads on the East Coast. I can't remember the details, but the training data used for that is in my mind, allegedly, from what I read, not from the big three. I haven't been to Toonie yet, but I should probably go in there and see what has happened. I also want to give a shout out to Producer AI. Okay. And let's see. And a shout out to my brother who introduced me to Producer AI. Thank you very much. Because I got a free invite. So I'm sharing with you alternative links. For those of you who are concerned, you want to keep creating, you don't want to be marginalized. Trust me, I get it. I get it. And like I was saying, I think you didn't really hear this part because I was cut off. I was prefacing by saying I had already recorded 5 albums. You can find them all over Spotify under Phil C. But I recorded 5 albums and 40 singles. I was constantly releasing even before AI music came on the scene. Now, when AI music came on the scene, it just 10x'd everything I was doing. I still go through the same process. I still write. I use a lot of audio. I hope they don't take that away from Suno. But on my phone, I use Suno. That's Suno right there. See, I use Suno to record my ideas. Suno has been a great repository for my ideas. I store my ideas. So I sing a song, store it in there, and then I work on the song, and then I can get stems. I can go into my DAW. I can do whatever I like with it. I could use a voice from Audemy if I wanted. Audemy is another good one. I'm giving a shout out to all of these people because I know everyone's going to be looking for alternate ways. For those of you who were asking about cloned voices, I actually cloned my voice yesterday in Audemy, and it's quite impressive what Audemy can do. So you might want to go into Audemy for those of you who are more like into singing, and you can actually get voices from Suno that you don't like, and you can replace them in Audemy. So there are many alternatives. I don't want you to think that this is the end. It's just the beginning. I mean, I knew that this couldn't go on forever. There had to be some sort of agreement, and we can only wait and see what happens. Sometimes it's like that family member. The family member who brings in an in-law, and you're like, oh my goodness, see what the cat dragged in. Sooner has brought an in-law. Oh dear. Sooner has brought Warner to the party. Meet your new family member. So anyway, Warner Music Group successfully co-opted the disruptor. Suno came in threatening to upend the entire industry, and they left as a licensed partner subject to Warner's control, operating under Warner's little rules. Legislate, litigate, license. Yeah. Suno got a $2.45 billion valuation, but they paid for it. They're going to have to deprecate the original models. They're going to have to implement restrictive paywalls, no more free lunches for the freebie users, right? And we have been converted into, well, some of us were already paying, so it's not all of us, but those who want to play, you are now a renter. It's no longer a free for all download mechanism, right? So they turned the tool for democratized creativity into a monetization engine for the legacy music industry. I'm just telling it like it is. We got to say these things so Suno goes back and has a rethink about their life. Suno, go and have a rethink. Is this the best? If you feel it's the best, I'm okay. But if you're having buyer's remorse with Songkick and the whole deal, well, let me be the voice of reason. The power structure, it was not disrupted. No, it wasn't disrupted. Look at UMG, laughing all the way to the bank with Clay and the rest of them when they finally roll out all of these little deals. The power structure wasn't disrupted. It was ported directly into the generative future. Now you can't get rid of the in laws. They're here to camp. And the question is, who's next? Because every AI music platform is watching this deal. And the lesson is very clear. You can innovate, you can scale, you can reach 100 million users, but in the end, you're not going to get rid of Shylock. Shylock's going to be knocking on, hey, Suno, I'm here to collect. I'm, I'm here to collect. Uh-oh. See, even if you get to 100 million users, you know how many? Think about 100 million. Think about a stadium and then multiply that by whatever number you need to. That is a boatload of people. 100 million users? Wow. You can grow as big as you want, grow all the tentacles you want, but in the end, you're going to pay Mr. Grange, you're going to pay Mr. Kinsel, and you're going to pay the Sony people. You're going to pay them. Or you might just very well disappear. And that's the end of my rant and my monologue for this evening. But I don't want to leave you in despair because I know that last piece sounds a little bit of a despair moment, but it's not. It's not. There's evolution. What Suno failed to do, listen to me loud and clear. What Suno failed to do, someone else will. Someone else will. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Right here in my studio, I have one of the most downtrodden keyboards. It's not looked at as anything serious. But you can play beats on it and you can play chords and a bass. It's not that hard. I'm just waiting for the next intelligent, smart company to think about all the pieces that are needed to create a democratized platform. Honestly, if I had the ability right now, if there was a genie in a bottle and I had just one wish, it would be give me a democratized music platform that anyone can use that has absolutely no music from any of the big three and can give people the music they want. But if wishes were horses, we'd all be riding. I'm really hoping that one day that dream will come true. It just needs the right team of people to make it a reality. Open sourced. That's it. Awakening Soul got the memo. It's the open sourced. Someone says Chinese models will win. And honestly, don't even underestimate the Chinese models. All it needs is one. All it needs is one. And it's just gonna be good luck, big three. So the big three, they know where their tentacles are. But once it gets outside of their walled empires, right? We know the countries that are in their walled empires. Once it gets outside of there, it's like trust me, it's only for so long. What Suno couldn't do, someone else is gonna do. Some people might be working underground right now to do that very thing that I just mentioned. And in a matter of months, you have a platform that does everything Suno could do and more. I'm not losing hope because if I can't do it, someone else will, you know? And I'm still hopeful. I want to see what OpenAI is doing, Maybe there's hope. I don't know if you folks have really listened to video generated by Grok. Video generated by Grok when it's playing all these tunes in the background. I'm like, whose model is that? I don't know whose model Grok was trained on, but it's pretty good. There are a number of models, even the YouTube model. I don't know if those of you who've watched my video about VO3 and creating with AI. The VO3 model for music is, I wish I could show you. It's just that I can't share the music through this platform, but I would have shown you. It's very good. And right there on your phones, how many of you have used your phones for shorts? Because right there on your phone, if you go to short and you ask it to create music, your mind will be blown. Like the guitar riffs that this thing plays. YouTube, I'm talking about YouTube's AI music generator. It's kind of crazy. Anybody tried it before? It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. In fact, I'm going to do one right now just to show you lyrics, genre, and it's become so easy. It's become so easy. That's it. That's it generated in seconds, just in seconds. So, what Suno has failed to do, someone else will do it. A music platform without anyone's influence. That's really what I want. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm not against the big three at all. I love the fact that they've preserved music from my childhood, right? The likes of ABBA, the likes of many of the artists I listened to growing up. I'm really happy and excited about that. But truth be told, me as a creator, I just want freedom. Feels like such a sin from afar. That's YouTube. That's YouTube's AI music generator, which a lot of people don't even know exists. So it's only a matter of time, Like back in the day, I remember the okay, I'm sorry, Casio, forgive me, because I learned on a Casio. I shouldn't say horrendous. But it's funny because when I came out with my own, I don't know if you folks have tried out my free drum machine. Someone said, Phil, this thing sounds like 1980s. I said, look, I'm trying my best. Just give me a few more days. And I'm going to be coming out with a new machine. But he found it very amusing that it sounded like 1980s. And 1980s are not bad. Not bad. Let me put this in the chat. So this is my free drum machine in my humble attempt to democratize music. I built a drum machine, I built a glider, kind of instrument where you can solo. And I also created a piano, and I made it available to the community. And it sounded really old school. But I was joking about how arranger keyboards in the 80s, they were like acid. They were not that great. But as the 90s came about and then the 2000s, even the cheapest of the arranger keyboards would sound a lot better. And that's how AI is going to be. A time will come where it's going to be so easy to create music without influence. The same way you can create images and no one's breathing down your neck for creating an image in Grok or in Sora, time will come when music will be exactly the same way. And I think a lot of these newer companies, they're learning their lesson from Suno, how not to do it. I think the reason why Suno still has the upper hand is their tool is incredibly smart, very, very smart. But in the passage of time, I think there's going to be a lot of competition. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. My friend Lost in Translation podcast says, "What's wrong with the 80s?" Exactly my sentiment, but I didn't want to strong arm him into submission. So I said, "Yeah, you're right. It sounds 80s, but yeah, what's wrong with the 80s?" Absolutely. If someone comes up with an open source we can download and use without cost, yeah. And I just give you an idea of some of the stuff I'm working on right now. Yeah, I'm working on an arranger keyboard. It's almost done. It contains samples that I created myself. So it's all above board. It has, drum samples, keyboard samples, guitar samples. And I'm just working on a few more fine-tuned pieces. Let me see if I show you a little bit of it. Because every vision has to start with it starts with a tiny little idea. This tiny little idea. But I know that in the grand scheme of things, my idea will grow and I'll find other programmers and other people who can help me create something that everybody can use. All right, let me see if I can bring it up on the screen. Okay. So here's my humble, very humble. I won't really be able to play uh, the machine, but I can show you what it's beginning to look like. To crave your indulgence. All right, let's go there. Let me bring this up. Okay, so here it is. It's a very humble, humble little drum machine, but I made this from real samples. So when it's all done, you'll be able to at least create some backend. While Suno still allows us to upload audio, you'll be able to create something with this, download it, upload it to Suno, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. But I'm working on my own little projects. Every step requires, every goal requires a little step towards it, and this is my little step towards democratization of music. Yeah. All right. Hi, KP. Do you want to come on and say something? Are you on the stage? You want to come on stage? You can always unmute your mic if you wish. Should I Oh, let me see. I see you've been chatting in. Oh, okay. Okay. I see you. Thank you, KP. KP is one of our awesome members, just like Mr. and many others here. And I appreciate you coming through. Thank you. Yeah. And, speaking of what happened earlier, I really wanted some of you to be on here with me because that little snafu in the beginning would have never happened if you were on stage. So it's always good to have multiple folks joining. I wanted uh, Phoenix Benjamin to join me as well, but I guess you may not have seen my email because I wanted you to be on here as well. Same for Beatology. I wanted you to be on here. The helmsman said there's stipulations behind YouTube music generator. Can it? Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. I don't think it can be commercialized. I think you bring up a good point. It's probably like a walled garden approach. You have to use it within YouTube. You have to use it within YouTube. And YouTube has more than enough resources, that's for sure. If they wanted to make it available, but I don't know how it was trained. I need to go do some research on that. Yeah. But anyway, my friends, I really appreciate you coming through. Was there any question or concern that I may have missed? Because now I'm all eyes on the chat. Okay. Thank you very much. Win as interim. I sure hope they do come out with another platform. We don't have to start over. I know. I know. Thank you very much, Lost in Translation. Appreciate you. Mr. says, Phil, to be honest, I've used your apps just as much, if not more. Wow. Well, thank you. Just so those of you know who, those of you who don't know, on the AI Creatives platform, we have what we call the playground. And in the playground, I have developed 12 apps. Actually, they're going on more than 12, but I've done a number of apps, and some of them are suggestions from our friends on this call, and created the apps for you to make your music, a little bit, have that competitive edge and more organized. For those of you who are interested in AI music artists, my most recent app will help you manage your artists, and that's coming out very soon. Hey, Mr. Marquis, thank you for coming through. Good to see you, my friend. I think this Suno move should be used as an entrepreneurial model. You're right, Start a users group where musicians can contribute and get paid if works are used. You're very correct. Absolutely. Thank you, KP. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Um, so Riley, hi Riley. Riley says I appreciate you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming through. And I'm going to go through all the chats that I missed in the very beginning. Hey Robert, good to see you. Thank you, Robert. Robert said I found your apps and Suno was such a great combination. Thank you. So just so you know, there's also on philc.net. For those of you who didn't know, let me show you because I want you to use them. So I have some apps that are free, although those are not the ones that my buddy Mr. was talking about. Let me show you real quick. Over here. So if you go to phil with 2lc.net and you go into so if you go into music studio, that's where you'll find the drum machine. But beyond the drum machine, I have the world music generator. This works so good. You can do music from Africa, Asia, Middle East, North Africa, just everywhere you can imagine. You can take this and make hay while the sun shines. This works really well with Suno, as you heard Mr. say. Take this, use it in Suno. Thank Mr. later for bringing it up, because I'm telling you, this will create some gems in Suno. You see why I like Suno so much? Because I developed apps with Suno in mind. See? Also, the environment generator. For those of you who are diehard neo soul fans, I have this app. It will create some pretty dope neo soul jams for you, and not just that, lo-fi hip hop, cinematic, ambient, funk, just anything you can imagine. So I'm doing my bit. This is how I'm pushing the democratization of music forward. I want you folks to create stuff you like, stuff you're proud of, and then over here I also have a vocal prompt designer that can prompt your vocals, right? Can get all sorts of textures, soulful and raspy, smooth. This smooth and breathy. I'm telling you, this one, this one gave me a hit. That's all I'm gonna say. And all of this stuff is free. It's all free. But beyond this, for the members, I have even more sophisticated tools. So blues. Let's see. There's got to be blues somewhere on here. I know that there's blues in my. So up here, I have 50 AI prompts. So if all else fails, just go straight to jazz and blues. You can get some very simple prompts. But going back to the environment generator, let's see. What do we have here? I don't think there's blues in these, but let's check this one. So yeah, the second entry is blues, and everything from acoustic to Chicago blues, classic blues. Oh, the Delta blues is a killer. Delta blues is a killer. This one, that one, yeah. Put in that prompt, and you'll be thanking us later. Oh dear. Okay, let's see what I missed. Hi, Von Shire. Hi again. If someone makes an AI generator that trains on voluntary data, I'd gladly upload melodies and beats. Oh, that's so nice of you. I've made. I'm betting people that actually know how AI trains. Absolutely. Yeah. And I actually signed up, like I'm very open source minded, just like KP, my friend on here. KP, you allow people with Creative Commons licenses to kind of use what you do, if I'm not mistaken. You're very open source minded. But all of that to say, I agree. There will be a community of people that will rally around and hopefully make a tool that will help us in the community. I think a lot of the judgments, and I didn't even talk about these people today. I should have talked about the AI covers people, because the AI covers people, they're going to be very happy because that's their niche. They like that stuff. So now that Warner has something in place, they're going to be making AI covers all day. Some people love their AI covers. That's all they want to do. But a lot of people in this community, they want to create their own stuff. And that's where these prompts come in. That's why I'm on a mission to help people create, low cost, no tyranny, no beating people over the head, demanding money. Yeah, none of that. None of that. And there's some other things I have here, like I have a virtual piano. For those of you who are on the road and you want to compose, you can use this virtual piano. Yeah, if you wanted to just find your key, things like that. And then I also have the chord helper. So if you wanted to sing a song and you don't have a keyboard, well, you can just go on this site and you can play entire chords. See that? You just choose the key, whether it's C to B, whatever the key is, and whether it's a 1 to 7 on the major scale, diatonic, or whether it's a minor. You've got all the chords you would need generally to play most songs. So again, the website is philc.net. I'm really passionate about this because I know a lot of people just love to create. A lot of people love their music. All right. Well, that's it for tonight, my friends. I appreciate you coming through, each and every one of you. Thank you, KP, for joining me on here. I appreciate that. And Robert said, oh, the paid access. So to get the paid access, all you need to do is go to join.philc.net. Let me put that in the chat. Join.philc.net. And we are on a mission. We are on a mission to help everyone create as much as possible. I started contemplating, what can I do? Maybe I should begin curating producers who can help, because I didn't know how this stuff was going to turn out. So I thought maybe I should start looking for producers who can help people realize their dreams with music. But no, I want to empower you. So my game plan is this: if all else fails, I want to create superior tools. I already have started a collection of loops that will help liberate some of you who don't even know what loops are. But when you get loops, you'll find that you can even be more creative without having the tyranny of the companies on you. You'll find how to do things in a DAW. And honestly, a lot of great producers in the world today, they don't play any of this. They don't play any of this stuff. Are you kidding me? They don't play that. But what they do, what they can do, they know how it sounds. They can bring all the sounds together like a collage. And it's just worth a lot to be able to do that. So I don't begrudge anyone who loves music in their own way, wants to create in their own way. And I'm on the verge of creating stuff. Hey, welcome, Robert. I'm so glad that you joined. Robert, did you join twice? I can see two of them popped up. Thanks for joining. We're always glad to have our new members. So when you get in there, Robert, go to the members section on YouTube and just immediately look and you'll find the playground and you find all the tools that are there. Marcus, thank you for coming through. Marcus, another of our awesome members here. There's an Inspire feature in Suno that uses what? Yes, the Inspire feature. That's true. Create a paid subscription for musicians to contribute to. Oh, that's true. That's a great idea. Including live music and jams. Yeah, that's a good suggestion right there. Thank you for that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Robert, welcome to the club, Mr. Mister said. Hey, Mr. Mister, I'm waiting for your album to drop. Or albums. Albums. Some of you are owing me albums. And you know who you are because I've asked you to drop me some albums. Oh, thank you, Lost in Translation. I appreciate that. That honestly means so much to me. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm about. I have 40 singles, I have 5 albums without AI, and I have so many with it, but I just want to see more great ones. And I've seen a lot of you are doing very well. You're doing very well, doing very, very well with your creativity. The Helmsman. I sure hope they do come out with another platform. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I think I got everyone there. The helmsman said these big labels are just going to use AI the same way we're using exactly, pretty much, but for themselves. Exactly. Then they're going to come out and say, well, we're not hiding it. We're part of the industry. Uh, yeah. Yeah. They're trying to take it from the little guy. Yeah. Lost in Translation created 120 songs in less than 35 days. That is wild. That's average of 4 songs a day. That is sick. That is pretty ill. Pretty ill. And again, Robert, welcome. We're very pleased to have you. Thank you for joining. And Robert, just so you know, we have a tool in there that will enable you just speak your words as if you're just talking. It's going to take all your words. It's not going to deviate from your words. It'll take your words and you'll be able to arrange your words into whether you want intro, verse, chorus, bridge. It will do all of that. It'll take it and it will optimize it. And it will also help you get a prompt that you can put into Suno. So good stuff. Mr. Mrs. Coming Clean. I'm focusing on it. I have 2 gospel bangers. That is awesome. Yes, I agree with you. Let the truth be told official. That's true. We got to start our own stuff. Mix Mojo says, I cannot write songs that fast. Kudos. So I wish I could demonstrate this. I can't demo it for you right now, but I've got videos on it. Trust me when I tell you it's as simple as speaking. It's as simple as speaking. If you're able to just speak your ideas into this tool that we have in membership, able like I wrote 20 songs with my own lyrics just by speaking them into this tool over and over again. Because I mean, I have ideas, and I know a lot of the good book Psalms. I can take pieces of that and combine it with my own inspiration. And before I knew it, I had 20 songs in under an hour. So these tools are designed to help you. Like if you were going to write a book with all the words you speak in a day, you probably have at least 3 books of all the words that you've spoken in a day, especially if you're in a lot of communication. So imagine if those words could be made into song. Yeah. What about stable audio? I think they let you program your own model. Ah, interesting. Um, Marcus says, where is Timberland at now with all these recent developments and changes? Good question. Well, Timbo's been pretty quiet. He's been pretty silent over the past number of months. For obvious reasons, he has received a lot of backlash as a result of the beats that he took from, I think it was K Fresh, took his beats and put them into Suno illegally, and he he got a lot of backlash for it. So yeah, um, yes, yes, yeah, Jimmy Jam and Dallas Austin and many of the greats are on board. Absolutely, can write about 8 songs in a week. And I thought that was good. It's actually very good. 8 songs in a week is very good. So it depends on what you have on your chest to share. You know what I'm saying? If you have multiple messages. So for example, I wrote different songs for those of you who've listened to my Afrobeat recent Afrobeat collection for Thanksgiving and so on. I went back in time and I started getting all of these experiences that I'd had in life, like near death experiences with armed people, um, just stories. But I softened the stories and I made them really hilarious and put them into an Afrobeat album. And I had at least 2 experiences with armed people, and I had one experience where this kid wanted Christmas presents and wouldn't let me off the hook. Anytime this kid saw me, would ask me for Christmas. So I took all of those funny songs, I made them into an album, and I had 20 songs at the end of the day, just the lyrics. Now this is where Suno and Toonie come in. Because if you take those lyrics and you give it to Toonie, you know what Toonie's going to do? Toonie's going to ask you, well, we could give you this, six, six. So you thought Suno was the king of volume? No, Toonie is crazy. Toonie will give you 6 options, but it does eat your credits, right? It's $18 a month and you get 1,800 credits. But the credits go very quick if you're creating a lot of songs. So when you take 20 songs and put them into Tuning, just multiply by 6. It's crazy. And it can create different versions of your songs. So it's pretty impressive. Yeah. Awakening Soul says, I banged out an album and currently fantastic. You got to do it now. Now's the time. If you have a story to tell, like I did, when you sit down to write, let me just give you some advice. When you sit down to write, do it separate of anything else. Put aside hours to write. And when you're writing, you're going to get so many crazy ideas that you didn't even think of. Just think of a subject. Maybe it's someone that you encountered today, or someone you've encountered, a very interested individual, a motivating, inspiring individual, or just anyone, kid, significant other, nephew, niece. You can write songs all day as long as they're meaningful and it really made an impression on you. That's what I've noticed. So if you haven't written songs in a while, you might have a lot of songs on your mind. When at interim says, I used to do 6 songs a week. That's Riley, if I'm not mistaken. Did I remember your name correctly? Is that Riley? I used to do 6 songs a week, but for the past few months, I started doing just 4 a week. That's pretty good as well. Well done. That's good. Yeah. It's all about inspiration. If you are not inspired, it ain't going to come. But you got to. So, what I do, I sit down at the keyboard and I'm writing, purposely just writing. Nothing but writing. I'm not looking to go into Suno. I'm just stacking up on multiple song ideas. So if you listen to my album, which I use Suno to work on, it's called Neo Grit. trap jazz. I just sat down on the keyboard. I sat down my Go Keys 5, not even this one, smaller keyboard, and I just stacked up on melodies, harmonies, and ideas. And by the time I was done, I was satisfied because I had that album, I had an expression because I wanted to combine jazz, trap, and a cappella and very, very heavy, dense harmonies like my boys take six. So I wanted to get that kind of effect. So I had to sit down at the keyboard and do nothing but compose. But when I was done, I was happy with the end result. I was very happy with the end result. So, yeah. Okay. Matter of fact, Phil, the songs are written. Wow. Interesting. Well, I'm really happy to hear that. I'm glad that that inspired you. I kind of go what you were saying. A bluesy song. That's cool. That's really cool. Really, really cool. Block hype. I hope I'm reading it correctly. Thank you for coming through. Phil, should I get my money back from Suno? Oh, you paid Suno. Um, I wouldn't go that far just yet. What I would advise to do is work feverishly on getting as many as you can ideas out. I know that there'll be a lot of people looking for returns, but Suno has a habit of letting you in to the ecosystem, and then the price could change. So I would hate for you to miss out by stopping your subscription. I think it's still a good platform. I'm not going to ask for my money back. I love Suno. I'm not. Let me make it very clear. I am not going to abandon ship. It is not over till it's over. I'm going to stay in the thick of it and I'm going to see this thing through to the end. So my subscription ends in September. I am not going to abandon ship. I have a lot at stake. And I think if you get into Suno and you begin to work on your ideas and arrangements, I think it could pay you wildly. Like for me, I know some of you are musicians. Let me tell you why Suno is so valuable to me. So once in a while, I go to my favorite spot where I hang out and I just want to jam. I take one of my keyboards. I might go there with a friend or two to jam. But guess what I've started doing? I go with Suno. And then I put on some of the craziest beats that I've ever made. How? With Suno. And I put on these neo soul, hip hop beats, and they're so chill and ridiculous. That's why when I look at the arranger keyboard market, I know I ain't going back there looking at them as a nirvana. They're not. It's Suno. Suno's given me some of the dopest backgrounds that I've ever played on. So I wouldn't recommend jumping ship with Suno. I think Suno is still a great ecosystem, even though they've brought in a new in-law. They brought in a new in-law that we're not very impressed with. I know you know some of you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, oh dear, we have to live with this one. Yeah, that's just how it is. Noisy, braggadocious, but there are in-laws now. So let's see where it goes. Again, I don't hate the labels. I want to make it very clear. I know I'm always, kind of making a joke at their expense. I don't hate the label. They're doing their job. People invest money. Some of my friends have money in these companies. They got to get their money back. It's just that for me personally, I want to create music without giving them any of my paper. That's all. So I don't hate the labels. I'm grateful for the labels. I'm grateful for everyone in the ecosystem. You see, what people fail to realize is just as it is in the world where you have the tadpoles, the toads, the birds, the chickens, the javelina, the coyotes. If you're out here in Arizona, don't you love the coyotes and the javelina? But they're all part of the ecosystem, right? One has to feed off something else, and something else in the food chain has to. And I just see it as that. It's just that I don't want to be the lower end of the ecosystem. You get what I'm saying? I want to be higher up in the ecosystem. So that's how I see it. I don't begrudge anyone. Let's make it very clear. because I know emotions have run high tonight. So I don't hate any of them. UMG, Warner, Sony, more power to you. It's just that I don't want to play with you. You understand? It's like I can live with you, but I don't want you to control my paper flow. Anyway, enough said. Thank you very much, my friends. It's that time we're going to jump off this platform and go create some music. Let's go make some music. Let's make it great. I appreciate you all, and let's hope for the best. Thank you all very much. You take care now. Don't forget to smash the like button if you haven't already. And subscribe. Like and subscribe and share. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you very much. KP, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. KP, actually, don't get off the call. You don't have to get off the call. Yeah. All right, my friends. Thank you all very much. I'll go through all the comments and I'll be talking about them in the days to come. You take care. Bye for now.